Welcome to Here We Recap, where we dive deep into the world of Westeros. In today's episode, we're going to explore 4 major story changes between Game of Thrones Season 1 and George R.R. Martin's book A Game of Thrones. These aren't just details that were skipped. These are significant narrative shifts that impacted the way the story was told on screen. First up, let's talk about Cersei Lannister and the child she had with Robert Baratheon. In the book, during a private conversation with Catelyn Stark, Cersei reveals that she once had a dark-haired child with Robert. This child tragically died shortly after birth. This revelation adds layers to Cersei's character, showing a rare moment of vulnerability and hinting at the complexities of her marriage with Robert. It also suggests that she wasn't always completely hateful toward Robert, as there was a time when they shared a child. But in the TV series, this entire backstory is left out. Cersei's lost child is never mentioned, and the show portrays her relationship with Robert as purely hostile, with no hint of this tragic past. By omitting this detail, the show gives us a more straightforward depiction of Cersei's animosity towards Robert, removing a layer of complexity from her character. Next, let's discuss one of the most controversial changes: the depiction of Khal Drogo and Daenerys' first night together. In the book, Drogo is surprisingly gentle with Daenerys on their wedding night. He takes the time to communicate with her and waits for her consent, despite their cultural differences. This moment is crucial because it lays the foundation for Daenerys' gradual empowerment and the complex relationship she develops with Drogo. However, the TV series takes a darker turn. Instead of a moment of tentative connection, the show depicts Drogo as forceful, with Daenerys visibly distressed and not consenting to the encounter. This change significantly alters the dynamic of their relationship, portraying it as one rooted in violence and submission rather than mutual understanding. It also shifts Daenerys' character arc, making her later empowerment more of a reaction against her initial victimization. Now, let's look at the death of Jory Cassel, the loyal captain of Eddard Stark's household guard. In the book, Jory's death comes during a confrontation with Jaime Lannister's men later in the story. His death is part of a larger skirmish, reflecting the rising tensions between the Starks and the Lannisters. This event escalates the conflict in a broader context, affecting the Stark family and their allies. In the show, this scene is adapted quite differently. Jory's death is moved up and dramatized significantly. He is killed directly by Jaime Lannister in a one-on-one fight. This change intensifies the personal rivalry between Ned Stark and Jaime and adds a shocking moment early in the series. It also portrays Jaime in a more aggressive light, emphasizing the Lannisters' ruthlessness from the outset. Finally, we turn to Robb Stark and the strategy he employs during his campaign in the Riverlands. In the books, Robb is depicted as a brilliant young strategist. His military campaigns are detailed, showcasing his cunning and his ability to outmaneuver his enemies. The alliances he forms and the battles he chooses to fight are critical to his character development and the overall war effort. These moments highlight Robb's leadership qualities and his growth as a commander. But the show simplifies much of this. While the general events are the same, the intricate details of Robb's strategies are largely omitted. Instead, the series focuses more on the outcomes rather than the planning, leading to a portrayal of Robb that emphasizes his bravery but downplays his strategic genius. This shift alters the audience's perception of Robb, making him appear more reactionary than proactive. These 4 changes are just a few examples of how the TV adaptation of Game of Thrones differs from the original source material. While these changes served various purposes, from pacing to thematic emphasis, they also altered how we understand these characters and their journeys. As we continue to explore the world of Westeros, remember that each adaptation brings its own flavor, sometimes at the cost of the original's complexity. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Here We Recap for more deep dives into your favorite shows and movies. And let us know in the comments which changes you found the most impactful.